You can always. My wife hates it. Hates the mentality of like, just ask if they'll give it to you for less. Why? Wouldn't they just post it for less if they wanted to sell it for less? That's the game, babe. You just, she's not about it.
They want more out of you than they know that
you got to haggle a little bit.
So she was like selling furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and her stuff would get eaten up like really quick. But people would just ask, hey, can I have it for, she'd be listed for like 320, and someone would be like, can I have it for 200? And she would get so mad. I'm like, babe, that's fine. That's part of the game.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
You just ignore
that.
That
Is a pretty, I mean, that's a 33% discount though. That's pretty pretty steep.
Dude, there was a house selling for $55,000 and we offered 20 once.
Yeah.
So, and she was in on that. So we got it for 25.
Yeah, there are times where somebody has something that's nice, but they're completely delusional about what it's worth.
Oh, I know what it's worth. If you see those words in a listing, run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I got here.
The whole like video game craze from 2020, 2021, where people would post these like video games online and they'd be like, I know what I got. Don't try to lowball me.
Post their when they're
like selling
them, post them on Facebook.
Now you've told me that those are no longer a like fungible or physical product anymore. Like you just own the rights to play the game.
People are so angry about that. Yeah, and PlayStation just announced.
So you have to like pay a subscription to maintain your rights?
No, you buy the rights one time. And my guess is like, so PlayStation just announced,
and then you just download it onto your.
You download it
on the local device.
They're revocable. You've bought revocable rights.
It's a license.
Yes, you're licensed for the right to play the game.
So there's no more little DVDs that you put in the.
I mean, I still do. I'm all about that stuff. But
they still make that stuff on like a little disc or something.
The little disc, that was just the GameCube. Most things are a full disc. Or the Nintendo Switch is like basically the size of an SD card.
A cartridge.
Tiny little cartridge. You remember those cartridges people used to blow in for the 64?
We went from planting corn with a horse to now using things in space to help us play. And yet, video games, they really haven't come that far.
That's true. No, I think video games will be one of the biggest money producers for AI, because video games are the only technology so far of entertainment that as it's gotten better, the graph has followed it with how much money it's made. Mm-hmm. All the other ones, TVs, way better than they used to be. They make way less money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They cost way less money. People watch less TV in terms.
Well, they don't make them out of wood ananymore, and I think that probably changed things.
Like a month's salary.
They're not so heavy anymore. Yeah.
But so video games, it's going up, and it's because they're way more addictive than like watching TV or anything, and they will. My guess is it'll get to a point where people like the evening before will be like, all right, I want to play a video game where I'm this kind of character and I do this kind of thing. And then it'll make the video game throughout the night. The next day you can wake up. Not good
for us. That is not good for us.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But Riley?
It's a little utopian. It's an interesting sounding future.
Man, I watched...
Dystopian.
Yeah. I watched Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Sad. That movie bummed me the freak out. It was like everyone in the movie's addicted to screens, and there's like the main character, she's allergic to Wi-Fi, and so she like can't be around it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending twist was like there's like 3 twists that happen right in a row, and you're like, man, that was depressing.
I think if you want to see a glimpse of a potential future, all you got to do is go back and watch Wall-E from
the
old days where
I think
everybody
Wally
floated around
stands
on
undefeated.
recliners
You know what I mean?
with Slurpees and burgers, and your TV was right there with you.
That has nothing to do with the future. Today.
Wow.
Well, it was the future back then because they came out with that movie in like the early 2000s.
Yeah,
probably.
it was an old
Back
older
when
movie.
parents still said, "Don't sit too close to the TV."
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's all
You go
right
blind.
up to her face.
Yeah,
Man,
it is spooky how Wally has there's a lot of illustration
yeah.
that parallels what we see today.
10 people ish reach out to me, say how much they liked our coffee time last week.
What did we talk
Shame
about?
on you. We wrestled each other in the car.
Oh yeah.
They liked our pain that we were going through, even though it was only like 20 minutes long.
The
Anyway,
different weeds. Why did we not think to cover sweet clover? That was one that we
don't
left
know.
out.
Yeah.
And there's sweet clover everywhere right now.
That prairie in Pella, like right across from the big church there, when you're driving
Yeah,
kids in a yard, there's a little bit of ragweed and some sweet clover, but everything else looks pristine.
Yeah, the one at the church next to it looks a lot better this year. They burned it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it looks a lot better. There's
Same prairie
still needs
mix.
a lot of management.
My
but-
dad planted both of those the same day with the same mix.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
It's just gotta be
shows what
prep.
management.
Yeah.
What
management
does.
prep.
Yeah, what the one has like tons of bushes and all this brome in it.
But it's getting better.
Yeah. They're trying to manage it. Yeah, I think we donated seed one year to like help them with one of the spots that they were reseeding, and it's like that very small spot looks really good. And then, yeah. But all right, we should jump in. Coffee Time Wednesdays with the Prairie Farm Podcast.
Can't hit us with the jingle.
Do-do-do-do-do.
A lot of companies talk about conservation, but I want to tell you about a company that actually puts their money where their mouth is. birdhuntersupply.com is a great company. I know the owner, Joe. He's a great dude. We've had the privilege of working with him, and let's just say he really puts his money where his mouth is. A large percentage of his profits from Bird Hunter Supply go to a conservation organization of your choice at checkout. So your purchase actually puts money towards conservation, and it's not just a roundup. It's not just asking you to donate on top of your purchase. This is included with your purchase. This man is running his very own small business version of Pittman Robertson, except without all the government stuff. I'm a big fan of that. So whether you're buying hunting apparel, decoys, dog training gear, you are actually going to be giving back to conservation. That is my friend Joe at birdhuntersupply.com. We love that company. We love what they have going on. Oh, and they do a really great job with their website. Makes it very easy. birdhuntersupply.com. Welcome back to the Prairie Farm Podcast, Coffee Time Wednesday. I'm your favorite host, Nicolas Lirio, with your favorite co-host, Kent Boucher.
Hey.
And your favorite co-host to the coast, Riley Rosendahl.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, we should just give them a little fill-in about what you've been doing the past few weeks on the farm. Mid summer management.
Yeah, I actually had a couple days of vacation I was able to take. We're officially that part of the summer. July is the month where we all try to take a little time off. And Riley's actually going to be on vacation, I think, next week.
I'm going to try to. Vacation to me gets weird.
And it
so
looks like he's catching
buckle
some
up.
good weather, too. It's going to be low 80s.
Yeah.
So he's going to be stomping around a prairie near you.
Probably.
He's going to the beach, the Iowa beaches, frolic in the water.
I'm going to sit on a chair and not going in the water.
Yeah. He's not. You're not a swimming kind of beach goer?
Well, not at the lakes here in Iowa.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But, yeah, so we were kind of in the slowdown. I do have one crop that's on the ground right now that I'll probably get, if not today, tomorrow. And it's a new planting mowing time. So if you have a new planting from this last fall or this early spring, get it mowed. It's time to do that. There's some things that are starting to go to seed already. Things like Pennsylvania Smartweed is going to seed.
Canada Thistle's already gone.
Canada Thistle, yeah, a little late on the game for that already. But if you tune into this podcast we have coming soon with John Judson, then he talks a little bit about how he has managed Canada Thistle out of his prairies, and we saw the evidence it works. And honestly, with the Pennsylvania Smartweed, not really a concern. If you have a solid stand prairie coming in, it'll get largely choked out by the prairie as the prairie matures. So, but yeah, it's a good time to get things mowed, and so I have some of that going on, and I don't think we have another harvest until. I need to look at this, actually, my notes, but I don't think we have another one until kind of mid-August. So I'm enjoying a nice little break right now from harvesting, and then we'll be in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then come the long nights.
New fields are good in the middle of the summer because you're not getting a harvest, so you just mow them, right? And you're like, wow, look, we've managed our field so well. And then at the end of the year, when the bank comes knocking and that field produced nothing for you, you're like, crap.
Dang it.
How did we miss this? Man, yeah, that's cool. I think you're doing a great job, Ken. We've got some more high schoolers since when I was in high school. There were a bunch of us that worked here on the farms when I was in high school, but a bunch of them out there in the fields picking out
weeds. Yep.
Yeah. What was it? Wild oats.
Wild oats. Yep. Working on that right now and mowing some. I mean, we did a pretty good job staying on top of the Canadian thistles this year. There are a few spots we didn't quite get to in time, but for the most part, the vast majority of them we did. But we're still keeping them trimmed down. Want to put as much of a herd on them as we can, and so they've been working on some of that too.
Yeah. I am grateful that we don't deal with like Palmer amaranth here, and I'm grateful that we don't deal with Sericea Lespedisa. Yeah. That's not good. That stuff's not good. But we do deal Canada. We don't really deal with brome. It's not a huge issue. Wild oats and Canada thistle are kind of our lifetime battles here on the farm, and fine by me to have those and not the other ones that I just mentioned.
Yeah, but, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I should jump in. The first one was sent to us. I'm not going to say their name because I'm going to talk a little bit about what they texted me, and I don't want to dox them. Basically, they sent me a bunch of photos of their new oak plantings and an article showing a bunch of research that connected overspray with these defoliation of oaks. And he texted me that, and he was like, just in case you didn't feel depressed today. And I saw that part of the text, and I was like, I'm not even opening this till tomorrow. I'm going to bed in a good mood. And I looked into it. It's kind of interesting. So obviously, dicamba is the one that it's like if the farmer does everything right and they spray in great conditions, but then it just gets 6 degrees hotter than the weather said it was going to, and the weather.
If I understand it right, that doesn't mean 6 degrees warmer that day. It could be within a couple of days.
Yes, yeah, and it can. What's the process when it becomes a gas?
Vaporizes.
It vaporizes and can travel miles.
Volatile. They call it volatility in the chemical applicator world.
Well, yeah. So that's
gets
obviously
gets up and leaves is what it does.
It moves. Yeah. It says, "Here's where you put me. I have somewhere else to be."
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I want to actually read what he texted me because, and he is, by all accounts, has a great relationship with the neighboring farmers, and he says that they do a good job. They do their best to like make sure that everything's managed. And I told him,
look and see who's
I told him after a spray sometime you should get a sample tested. And he said the farmer next to us does a really great job taking precautions and does the best he can, but it is a little discouraging when you see 3 or 4 747 size sprayers within sight, and often you can catch them spraying at 10 to 20 mile per hour winds. And then there's always a chemical spray in the air that lasts a couple of days. And then he asked me a question about foxtail that I'm realizing I forgot to get back to him on. But I guess it's kind of discouraging because it's like, even if you follow everything the EPA says to follow, you just don't get away from it. And everyone knows because we can smell it in the air. You smell it in the air, you know, it's contaminated your skin or whatnot. And what I'm not trying to do is be like, everyone, you need to fear for their lives, and farmers are doing a terrible job. And most farmers that I know follow the label, you know, do what they're supposed to be doing with the chemicals in terms of what the scientists have said. This is the safe way to deal with it. But specifically, he was talking about oaks because most species will kind of have that cupping effect where their leaves start to cup. Yeah. We've all seen that in trees. And oaks can get that as well, but they will actually also tatter. White oaks, their leaves will do this weird thing where it kind of shatters to pieces and the veins are kind of all that's left while it's still hanging out on the tree. That's weird. That's like a weird thing. In Illinois, the University of Illinois studied this intently in the 2000s. I want to get this chemical right. Basically, they definitively proved that this tattering, which is a weird thing, happens on oaks from a common corn pre-emergent acetochlor. And so dicamba and some of these other ones can cause that curling. It can cause negative effects on the tree. But specifically with acetochlor on oaks. Now, the reason it's a bigger deal for oaks than these other trees, one, there's not that many oaks, you know, and two, they way out punch their weight class in terms of what they do for their environment around them. So, you know, the pollinators and everything else that are surviving off of directly or indirectly from these oaks are very negatively affected. And so, I don't know, the overspray we've experienced here on the farm. There's a cool flower farm not that far from here, and she has signs. She's right next to a big old cornfield, and the signs say no drift zone. And I'm like, I get it. Even if the farmer next to you was awesome, like just doing everything he could to make sure it doesn't drift. You guys would know this better than me. I'm pretty sure you just can't help it to some degree.
Yeah, there's always the push and pull of you got to, you know, get it done while the weather is suitable for it, right? And those days are, some years you got a lot of them, and other years you got one, you know. And there was a day like that, it's either last week or maybe the week before, and you could just smell 2,4-D in the air. Everybody, I think it was last week. Last Monday is when it was actually. Everybody was spraying, and I think it was because the high that day was 85, which is what Carol told me was you really don't want to spray 2,4-D at anything above 85 degrees because it has pretty high volatility after that point. Yeah, and so there's days like that where we're in the middle of this heat wave, and it's going to happen next week too. The guys that didn't get it done, we have a couple low 80-degree days next week. You're going to smell 2,4-D on those days.
Interesting.
And
so it creates a concentration of it where it's just everywhere, and you don't get that dilution
the point is everyone's got to fit within these windows, right? So then if the wind is like your friend talked about that texted you, you know, those 10 to 20 mile an hour days, well, the temperature's right, but the wind is a little iffy. They got to run because otherwise it'll be 90 degrees tomorrow and they're not going to get their chance to spray. And where the real friction is in what I just said. They got to run, right? We have decided as Agland USA that the farmers' needs preside over the flower growers' needs, right? In the case of the person you talked about who has the signage, right? The farmers' needs preside, or they are more urgent, more important than the needs of this guy with his oak trees. They're more important than the family with the garden in the yard, the little kids playing on the swing set, right? Look, you know, I hate it, but I gotta get my corn sprayed, gotta get my beans sprayed, right? And that has just been, I guess, legally, socially, legally there are some implications. Like if you can prove that, you know, like the person who has the flower business, if they get oversprayed and they can prove to IDOLs, take soil samples. Yeah, look, you know, all my give me a
Zinnias.
All my
zinnias.
zinnias. Give me an invasive flower. No, I'm just kidding. All my zinnias got oversprayed, and there is legal ramifications for that, but it's more of a societal accepted norm, where we as a society are, when push comes to shove, what we're really okay with. And
well, I think the other thing that comes into play here too, though, is as farms continue to get bigger, as operators, if you have 300 acres of crop and you have a tight constrained window to spray, you might have to take that chance. But as farms get bigger, people are contracting more and more and more.
Yeah.
And one guy, instead of spraying 300 acres, needs to spray 2,000.
Yeah.
Or a co-op needs to spray a whole area.
And it's not being sprayed by your neighbor anymore.
Yeah.
It's being sprayed by someone your neighbor hired.
It's exacerbated, and people don't know where stuff is.
And they're willing to do more marginal days because they have way more to spray.
Yeah, they have
and a tighter deadline. So maybe there are several good
and
80 degree
the
days.
option has, back to what I was saying, the option has not accepted weedier corn or weedier soybeans, right?
Yeah.
The option is no weedy corn or soybeans. Spray.
Yeah, and I don't know what to do about that. I mean, we just live in a state that
we start a podcast and we talk about these issues and start swaying societal norms.
That's true. I think that almost everything we talk about on this podcast gets fixed at the grocery store, in my personal opinion. I think, there's a lot of people that we love that I think are doing great things. They're fighting for it in legislation. That is not the world that I want to fight in.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, more power to you, not for me. But I think, we could solve a lot of this at the grocery store. Like there's all this talk about wheat getting sprayed with glyphosate so that it matures kind of congruently and in time
wheat
for them to
and
harvest.
oats, right? The desiccant spray, what do they call it? The dry down spray or whatever. Right at the end of the crop's life, they spray it so it dries up faster and is ready to harvest.
I also heard that like a really small percentage of our wheat and oats in the United States actually gets sprayed like that. We should actually look into that. How much of it gets sprayed before it gets put into food? That's a great coffee time topic, Nicolas, future Nicolas. Future editing Nicolas. Write that down. But my wife and I decided, we're like, okay, we're gonna work very hard to buy organic gluten, and we just decided this weekend because if you could see my hands right now, I get sores all over them. And
straight leprosy over here.
And
go bathe in the River Jordan.
Saying that if I'd wash my hands, that would fix the no.
If I'd wash my hands, use deodorant, brush my teeth,
skin eating
wash
bacteria
my
on his
clothes,
hands.
it might help.
Oh man, no, but I get them all, and it is for sure correlated to something that I'm eating. I just can't figure out what the thing is. And here's a really tricky one. Sometimes I get it when I eat eggs, and sometimes I don't get it when I eat eggs.
Wait, is it that Coke and Nerd shake that you make every morning before you?
Mentos, Coke and Mentos.
No, I haven't been doing
that bowl of Nerds and Diet Coke.
I need to bring back the smoothies. You guys need to see some smoothies again. The smoothies are good, guys.
Smoothies was better than a head of broccoli. It made me feel like you were getting a more balanced nutritional output.
It's not a pleasant experience getting into your truck when there's a head of broccoli.
Just sitting on the
smells
chair.
Like a fart.
Yeah,
I really like my head of broccoli.
Smells like a warm, stale fart.
That sulfur.
The past few mornings I've been doing carrots because the farmer's market has a lot of carrots right now. So they're cheap. You get a ton of carrots for $2. But anyway, I think most of it could be fixed at the grocery store. But the truth is, I don't know. Like usually my brain's like, oh, what can we do? What can we implement? But it's like every corner or every side of our farm has corn and beans on it.
You realize how many emails you just got telling you why organic gluten? Why don't you just go gluten free?
Because gluten is awesome. You ever had gluten-free bread? It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh man.
Yeah, when you eat like a gluten-free cookie, it's like, this is almost so good.
At Hoxie Native Seeds, our mission is to provide native seed and education for landowners and land managers that care about their ground. So the education, we're doing that through the podcast and interviewing experts and the stuff we put out through our website. But the native seed that we provide, whether we grew it or we work with other producers that grew it, we are here to provide that for you. It's what keeps the lights on for us, and it's what we love to do. Most of our seeds grown right here on our farm, HoxieNativeSeeds.com. Oh, and if you need a little help with consultation, not sure what to put on your ground, we would be happy to help you with that as well. Give us a call, HoxieNativeSeeds.com. Okay, anyway, I wanted to bring up one more thing. The Iowa DNR to basically replicate a test on was this actually affecting oaks. They did a bag test where they would... thanks, brother. Let me check. Oh, yeah, we're still good. Okay, so they put bags on the same tree over a bunch of different leaves, and then where they were going to have spray. And I don't know if they did the spray or if they were next to farms that had spray come over them. And the leaves with the bags on them that protect them from spray, nothing happened. The other leaves were showing heavily tattered leaves. Whoa. Basically, direct, cause and effect of the chemicals.
It's interesting. I think this happened to me this spring. So I planted a bur oak sapling in my yard back in 2023, I think 23 or 24. That thing's growing like crazy, which is awesome. I planted it right next to this dead ash tree that got destroyed by EAB, and it won't be much of a shade tree like that ash tree was when I was a kid, but until after I'm dead.
Yeah, when Jonas has grandkids.
Right. But that's kind of the hopes. And it's been doing so well. I'm just so proud of it. I planted 5 or 6 trees that year, and I think that's the only one to have made it. Mm-hmm. All the other ones were killed in some other way. And I noticed that the leaves were, that's just a great term for them, tattered, like shredded. I'm like, man, there's some kind of aphid, or I wonder if it's Japanese beetles. Something is just defoliating this tree. And planted right on the edge of my yard this year is the rotation for corn. And I don't know if the operator is using acetochlor. I would imagine so. It's just conventional corn. So I'm guessing, because I saw an article on this a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where somebody else was documenting this problem, and I'm guessing that's what happened.
There's a pros and cons, right? We don't use chemicals to go out and destroy ecosystems.
Right, yeah.
We use chemicals because of the list of pros that are on the pros and cons sheet. It's just as we've been doing them longer, or maybe as we're using harsher chemicals or something, the cons list is getting longer, and so we gotta figure that out, because at some point,
we don't have less corn and beans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the margins disappear, right? There's no things are it's just everywhere, I'd
be really curious to see if, and this wouldn't imply straight causality, but if someone would do surveys of oak trees in areas that are right against crop fields and areas that aren't. You have these green belts in fields that have trees in them, are oaks underrepresented in some of this stuff, or
did they say how long it's remaining volatile in the atmosphere when it's floating around?
No, I didn't look that up. I
wonder how long they kept those bags on the leaves in their leaf test.
I actually saw the Iowa DNR test was on a USDA website, so they didn't go that far into depth. They just had a blurb about it. I should have actually looked up, their actual test. But yeah. All right. Well, should we go to something a little happier?
Yeah. Let's
go to something a little happier. I just got a short little blurb on this. Native plants. This was you, Kent. You sent this to us.
Yeah. Where did that article come out of? Was it a Chicago news station?
No, it was Iowa. It was, I don't know.
Was it Ottumwa maybe?
I can look it up.
Grist? Is that?
I don't. It was a news station that posted the article.
I'm pretty sure
was it KCRG maybe?
I'm not sure, but it
Riley's going to find for us.
Thank you, Riley. It had me diving into some actual numbers.
It was grist.org.
Grist.org.
From a regional reporter in Illinois.
Okay. And so basically, the article was about how native plants are just having the comeback, comeback of the decade. And the actual one of the native plant people in the article said 5 years ago I couldn't give these away, and now they've flown off the shelf. Well, another native plant nursery saw a staggering spike of 350% in native plant sales. Another one out of Wisconsin said that, and this guy's been doing it for over 40 years. In 1982, his native plant business grossed $13,000.
Oh, yeah. I remember that in the article. Yeah.
Yep. And today he shipped over 500,000 plants. That's not $500,000.
Yeah.
500,000 plants.
Yeah, you figure a lot of plugs are $5 to $7. Some are as much as 20,
A full
25.
plant is $15, no problem. The Chicago Park District plant sale saw an inventory bump of 20% and a record-breaking 2,300 choppers.
I think that's probably the most key piece of information, or the key data point right there. The Chicago Parks, because unless I'm understanding this wrong, to me that sounds like when the NRCS has their plant sales at the plug sales at the. So that's your general. That's your general public. Wow, my collar looks like trash right now. I just noticed.
I'm just gonna let it ride.
A really nice shirt here. It's all faded from the sun. Wonder what that's doing to me.
It's all plastic. Just melting into your skin.
Into my pores.
I thought this was the bright spot in the coffee time.
Let's get back to the native plants.
No, I gotta tell you this story. My wife showed me this reel of this guy showing his grandma's fried chicken recipe. Have you seen this?
No.
He's like, you know what really gets the chicken crispy, gets it kind of hard? My grandma would throw a couple Ziploc bags in the fryer. And the guy with him's like, dude, you're just eating plastic chicken. And the guy's like, no, it just hardens the chicken. And the plastic bag just disappears. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, that's kind of happening to me probably. But that to me shows what the average citizen in that area, like, oh, there's a native plant sale over here. I'm going to grab a few of those, because it shows that the average person in public is learning the value of native plants and their importance. Whereas when you have like even if it's Hoxie native seeds, right? That's people hunting us down. Like there's not really a ton of convenience that brings them in, right?
Yeah.
It's whereas when you're like, for the local NRCS office around here, they sell at the farmers market a couple times in the summer. I've been there. I've seen them. I've bought some plants from them. They are capitalizing, yes, on people understanding the value of native plants, but also convenience, right?
Yeah.
Like I showed up to this farmer's market to spend $20, and I haven't spent all my $20 yet. Look at this beautiful foxglove over here, or something like that. And people are jumping on it.
I feel like the real turning point for me would be seeing it at farm stores. When you got these,
the old farm and home.
I looked this spring. I actually look a decent bit. I got some from a community college a couple years back that was having a plant sale and had some native plugs.
Yeah,
but you don't see a lot of native plants yet at like local farm stores. I'm hoping to see that change.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe that's just the bias around here.
Yeah, that's probably the next logical step in all of this, right?
But seeing them mixed in with, your zinnias and hydrangeas and all the other things that everybody stocks in the spring.
Well, if you go to Menards, I did a video on this on the Hoxie Instagram page, but like if you look up their wildflower mixes, it's like, there's coneflowers and some black-eyed Susans, and then it's just all Eurasian species.
Yeah, yep.
And
that's what we have to be. You got to be looking out for. When you're doing this.
Well, and now I'm thankful most of those have been spread for decades, and most of them aren't invasive. But the like dozen species that we do have are invasive. That a lot of them came from something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I want to give flowers. I want to give some flowers, because I searched for a long time and I could find no credible or like true information from like USDA or World Economic Forum or anything like that. I couldn't find any of those sources where they accredited why this was happening, right? So why do you guys think that's happening?
Well, I think things like what we're doing right now. There's a lot of people that hear these. Believe it or not, a lot of people hear these podcasts and see these reels, and they engage with it, and it clicks. It makes. I think people love ecology when they dig into it. If they're gonna have a science that they really enjoy, the average bear out there is gonna enjoy. It's ecology, because you can see the linear connections, right? Like a food chain, or the energy pyramid, right? The flow of energy through an ecosystem. Like, people can wrap their mind around that, and people like to be able to put a puzzle together.
Yeah.
And that's what ecology is. So I think when people see the logical progression of, if we have native plants, we have more butterflies. And we all love seeing the beautiful butterflies, right? But we also love to eat. And butterflies and bees and other pollinators, they are all part. We rely on them for 1/3 of all food on the planet, right? So we can draw those connections, and so I think people enjoy it that way. And there's been a lot of other podcasts and YouTube videos and social media influencers, and even, like, I think things like NPR and public television that have featured this kind of information for a very long time.
Yeah.
And have been talking about it and featuring other people who grow these things. And then also, I think the roadside program here in Iowa deserves a lot of credit, right? It's a beautiful thing driving across a lot of the major roads in Iowa. If you look at the ditches, you see a lot of color in the summers.
Yeah.
And you don't get that in a lot of places. So I think the roadside prairie programs through the DOT and also through what UNI does, I think that deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah. Riley?
I think that it offers, the interest comes from native plants offering a story for people. Before, I can't speak for the entire history of landscaping, but planting annuals that are not native to America just because they're pretty isn't inherently, some people would say that's wrong, but it offers some value to pollinators and stuff like that, but there's no through point. There's no through line to your area, to history, to something you can enjoy like that. And it's not just, oh, those are my hydrangeas and they're really pretty at this time of year. It's, this is my butterfly weed and it is native to here. You'll see it in the ditches, also.
Yeah.
It offers people that whole story. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like if someone were to give you like 50,000 plastic plates at your when you got married, like as a wedding gift.
Interesting.
It's like, oh yeah, this will do the job. That's what I kind of compare the
annuals and stuff.
The non-native annuals that people put in their landscaping, right? Or non-native grasses too, right? Yeah, this will do the job. But like Riley's saying, once you understand the whole storyline of what this is, that would be like getting the fancy china or something that this has permanent lasting value. This is a higher quality thing, and is something that will come back year after year after
returning
year.
Value.
I think it's kind of interesting that a lot of different groups, this is very validating to me, a lot of different groups came to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
Natives are better.
That's a great point.
Deer hunters, pheasant hunters, backyard gardeners, municipalities. You see more and more blazing star and coneflowers with the municipalities. People at home, the Save the Bees movement.
Even huge corporate greenwashing has gotten in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that, people caring about water quality. You know what I mean? It's just like this. They all.
It's a unifying point.
They all came to one thing.
That's a great. I like your answer better than Riley and mine.
Oh, well, it's just validating. It's like. And so we have a podcast called the Prairie Farm Podcast. And when I tell people I do a podcast for a living, I'm always so embarrassed because I'm afraid, I'm worried, I'm just vain.
You just feel so like, I
I do a podcast.
Yeah, like-
my mom lets me do it in her basement.
I mean, it takes
You
a
know?
certain level of arrogance to think that somebody cares what I have to say.
Unbelievable arrogance, dude. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so when I tell people, and then I tell them the name is the Prairie Farm Podcast, and you see it in their eyes. They have this gear of like, people listen to that? You know?
Is he done talking yet?
Yeah. and I thought that when we first started, I was like, who is going to listen to this thing? But it's been cool to watch all of these worlds show up in the same place. Agriculture, hunting, the outdoor space, water quality, apparently now the gubernatorial race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they all circle around Prairie. And even though it's like an integral part of more than we're willing to admit, we ripped it all up.
Yeah.
And so, but
It's almost like Nicolas likes talking in metaphors. So it's like we realized that our foundation was broken, right?
oh yeah.
And
interesting.
there's when you have a broken foundation, there's a bunch of quick fixes you can do. Well, we can go to Menards and buy a few more of those floor jacks that we can put under the joists.
All right, you don't have to make fun of how I fix houses.
Or you can say, we got to call the concrete contractor. We got to get an earth mover out here and trench along these basement walls, pull out the broken stuff, put in all new brick and concrete.
It's going to cost a bunch.
It's going to cost a ton, but then we can look forward on how do we get all these other problems with the house. How do we get those fixed?
Well, it's interesting because in that metaphor, all of the siblings, all of us humans are having to live in the Midwest. We all live in different rooms, and a lot of us don't even get along with each other. But we're all kind of recognizing, man, our foundation is jacked. We should probably get this figured out.
Yep.
Man, well, last week, Judd and I had the time of our lives. You guys will see photos coming out as the time rolls on because we went and visited a bunch of the CRP fields that we'd planted as long as, I think the oldest one was 19 years ago or something like that. And it looked really good. And you could see the progression of like our mixes getting more diverse as we went along. Well, I went to, I've talked about him here on the podcast, Nick Motes. I went to one of the plantings that they had done. They did it, and we just provided the seed. And they picked the perfect area. And I don't understand this as well, but we saw like 30 bobolinks. And Judd was like, bobolinks don't just show up because they have to have like a full-fledged ecosystem to be able to hang out. And after he couldn't believe
I have
it.
never knowingly seen one. And I try. I'm out in the field a lot, and I got my Merlin app going a lot when I'm hearing stuff. And I've never recorded one.
We had 10 last year on my
That's
prairie.
cool.
Yeah, I got a picture of 10 bobolink. It's blurry, but 10 male bobolinks in a line on a barbed wire fence.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We need to talk about bobolinks at some point, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so also cool for their family. They had a bunch of
Thimbleweed.
natives. Yeah, they had tall thimbleweed. They had, which is a cousin to Canda anemone. They had wingstem on the edge of their prairie. I promise you, no one would pay enough for CRP to get tall thimbleweed and wingstem in the prairie. So it's just from their place. And it was cool to go around and visit. There was one field. There was only one field I got ticks from, and I got like 11 or 12 ticks from that one stupid field. And when I started realizing how many were on me, I
It was
jumped out.
because he had ribs right before they went out there. It was just covered in meat juice.
Oh man, but it was a great time. The prairie. This is my favorite time of prairie. It's right before the big blue stem shoots up and covers all the flowers. You can still see the flowers.
It's
the bergamots
spiring
are blue.
right now, though. The big blue is.
It's
I
coming.
like it.
The heat units, as Kent taught me. The heat units are here. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, if you got any questions, go to theprairiefarm.com. You can hang out with us on the forum. If you're looking for native seed for this fall or have any questions, reach out at hoxieNativeSeeds.com. We really, really appreciate you. We'll talk to you again next time.